And now I'd like to introduce social strategist and newsroom lead link for Zappos, Josh Weaver.
Hey, Danica, what's going on? This is fun for me. I never get to be on conference calls where everyone else is muted, so this will be a first. Welcome, everybody. As Danica mentioned, my name is Josh, and I am the social strategist and newsroom lead link for Zappos.com. Feel free to come and visit me anytime if you have any questions outside of this. But I guess let's just kind of jump right in. Again, my name is Josh. You can find me on any social media at Josh the Weaver. More than anything, at Zappos, I'm a storyteller, and I get the awesome opportunity to tell fun stories through different social networks. My day-to-day is living within Twitter and Snapchat, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to speak about my favorite app. I'm not actually just saying that because Danica invited me, but it actually is one of my favorite apps out there. It is the best and most intimate way to kind of tell stories, and right there, it kind of can turn you on your head to say, well, how can this actually apply to a business? We'll talk more about that, but just keep that in mind, that more than anything, Snapchat is an intimate storytelling experience. It's not quite similar to Facebook or Twitter. In fact, when I visit their offices, they actually don't even consider themselves a social network. They consider themselves a storytelling tool. So just something to kind of keep in mind as we go a little bit through this. Tiny bit more background on me. I'm originally from Detroit. I've been in Vegas for about 6 years. I worked at a couple startups before Zappos. And in each of those startups, I got to play with social, so that's why I'm here in front of you guys today. So let's dive right in. And again, this is silly and it feels weird because no one's responding, but I think that's a good thing. So what is Snapchat? I touched on it a tiny bit. Snapchat is that perfect storytelling experience. It has all of the benefits of Twitter and an Instagram, along with the ability to erase your mistakes after 24 hours. It sounds like a funny thing for a social network to embrace the ability to delete itself. However, that content isn't necessarily created and meant to live forever. There are moments, there are pieces of a story that you continuously tell over time, and that's kind of where Snapchat lives within the social sphere. And again, I'm going to be saying this a lot, but it's just the best way to think of Snapchat is just the perfect storytelling experience. So I'm going to kind of lean into Snapchat like I assume that everyone has at least downloaded the app or heard someone talk about it. So we'll kind of start with the basics, and then we'll kind of grow from there. But Snapchat is 4 things. It's a storytelling tool, it's a peek behind the curtain, intimate, personal, and it's a non-traditional social marketing channel. The basics behind it is there's 10 seconds to your video or your photo content. By that, I mean you have the ability through Snapchat to take a photo that lasts for 10 seconds of viewing, or you can take a 10-second video. Why 10 seconds? It kind of limits you and keeps you within the boundaries of a story. Unlike other channels that have, like Facebook, where you can kind of post the full story's length, it kind of really limits you and makes you think of how to frame the content you're telling. And to be completely honest, as we delve further into the tech age, 10 seconds is about as much of an attention span as most people have. So kind of lean and use that to your advantage. And fun fact, 10 seconds is so much longer than you think it is. I'm pretty sure I've only been talking for 10 seconds. The other thing that you need to keep in mind with Snapchat is it's a progressive story format where, because of the 10-second limit you have with each snap, you have to kind of add on to the content as you go. It gives you the opportunity, if you're feeling really creative, to do multiple angles, to tell different point of view stories, etc. But think of it kind of like Legos, where you're building on top of each other. And the stronger base you have, the more you can kind of tell the story on top of that. That's a really good piece to remember with Snapchat, is that that it's just that progressive story, and if you have users who are following you, another thing to keep in mind is that they could come in at any point in the story based on when they're seeing your Snapchat content on their stream. We'll come a little bit more into that, but my last and the favorite basic thing about Snapchat is that participation is required. That means a ton of different things, and I'll touch on a few points. Participation required means Snapchat is the only social network where you have to opt in every single time you want to view content. Unlike Facebook, where you can post to your feed, and then it'll at some point hit someone's eyes, Snapchat has 100% opt-in, where the person has to physically click on your account to see your content. Same thing with Twitter. It's going to hit a stream, and there's a chance that it'll find your customers. But with Snapchat, that participation happens on both sides. Social media is always a two-way street. I think we say that a lot too. And you'll have to respond as customers talk to you. But that whole opt-in thing is just something to kind of keep in mind. It is really a great way to find your evangelists because they're opting into your story as often as you post it. And the more you can utilize those people who want to constantly hear your, content, like that's a huge plus for you. Okay, so that's the basics. If we need more, like actually how to use and add to story, I would honestly suggest, because I could talk 30 minutes just about how to physically use the product, I'm going to refer you to Google, and if you do Snapchat how-to, one of the first links that comes up is actually from Snapchat. It gives you really, really easy in-depth on how to take a video, how to add to a story, how to delete and, how to delete content that you didn't need. So just mulling over going past the basics, let's dive a little bit more into how we can use it professionally. So I mentioned this already, however, it is incredibly important. Ability to have evangelized an audience purely because they have to opt into every single snap, it's incredibly important. At Zappos, we use Snapchat for kind of behind the curtain storytelling to kind of show what's happening day to day. And our favorite part of utilizing Snapchat at Zappos is that the people who are opting in are almost always going to talk back to us. They're going to ask us questions. They're the people who are most interested in the content because it takes an extra step for them to see our content. Those are people who are going to be really invested in what you are and the story you're telling, so just kind of keep that in mind. It's also the most personal social network. Whereas Facebook and Twitter, along with Instagram, have kind of turned more into a marketplace of content that ranges from professional to personal to business, etc. Snapchat's the most personal because it is that unedited, I don't think this is a word, but we're going to go with it, uneditable content. It's that content that is purely from their camera right to your eyes. You have, of course, the ability to put over a GeoFilter or a lens of sorts, and we'll get into that in a little bit. However, what you're seeing through a person's Snapchat account is the most intimate and personal version of what you can see. Instagram, you can throw multiple filters on it, you can Photoshop the heck out of a photo, and you can toss it up, and it gives you a glimpse, but you don't know how many layers that's gone through before you're seeing it. Snapchat is purely from their camera to your face, your camera to their face. Something else to keep in mind when we're talking about professional versus personal usage with Snapchat is your stories should have a purpose and an action. And what I mean by that is, and really this is something that kind of holds true for all social as a business, if your content doesn't have a purpose, it doesn't need to be posted. If it's just something that you need to put out because you think you need to put it out, I always will strongly urge you that quality is more important than quantity, especially as we move into an age of social networking where virality is important. Spending a little bit more time on quality content will get you so much further than a large quantity. And Snapchat is another great way to use that, because we want to tell these stories that have a purpose and then can lead them to an action, whether it's come visit to do blank, to see who's telling these fun stories, to learn more about your product, etc. And a little note is kind of make it more Roald Dahl and not Charles Dickens, where short stories on Snapchat obviously hold a little bit more attention than a 5-minute video, which is, I'm really bad at math, that is a ton of 10-second snaps. So kind of just keep that in mind when you go with Snapchat, that shorter, more purposeful content is better than super long-form stories. So we're going to jump right into tips and tricks, because this is my favorite for users of Snapchat. I'm also going to take a breath because I don't think I've stopped talking since I've started talking. All right. So the first tip that I want to really get into, and why I made this first, and what I hope you guys get out of this one, it's the perfect tip and trick for a physical brick and mortar location. Have fun with GeoFilters. A GeoFilter is a filter you can overlay on a snap, whether it's a photo or video, that only pops up in a certain area. That area is defined by Google Maps, and I'll show you more about that in a second. But it's the perfect overlay for a store, a location, if you're having an event. You can buy these up to the hour. So you can have, let's say you're having a release party at Inspire Theater, and it's for 2 hours, so you can buy those 2 hours that snap filter is only available for, and it kind of creates like a must-use scenario, because one of my favorite actions in Snapchat is taking a photo and then swiping through to see what GeoFilters I've unlocked. So let's run through that really, really quick. So Snapchat has the ability to create on-demand GeoFilters. You can visit this by going to snapchat.com/geofilters, pretty easy to remember, and it gives you the option to either use your own GeoFilter that you customized and created on your own, or even create one right there in their photo editor. If you look, you can see towards the bottom, it actually gives you like a download template when you're on that page, so you can make sure that whatever you're creating follows their guidelines. But I would always kind of, just on my own personal side, recommend using your own that you've created and put your own personal touch on, because this is an awesome opportunity for you to overlay part of your business into other people's content. When you're using an on-demand GeoFilter, you have the ability to put your logo, your brand name, like something fun that kind of is you. And the more you utilize these, the more people will kind of come back and see like, oh, this is the filter of the day, or this is the filter of the month. At Zappos, we have 10 core values that range from deliver wow to be humble and open. And what we do is we actually turned each of those into a GeoFilter. And over the next 10 months, each month is going to be a different GeoFilter. So if you come and visit us on campus, you'll be able to take a photo of something at Zappos, and then you'll be able to find one of our core value GeoFilters. So it's one of those things that'll kind of, once you're in the swing of using Snapchat, it's something that I know you'll start looking for. Okay, so we'll move a little bit further through this. Once you've created a GeoFilter and uploaded it, it actually gives you a calendar in which you can select a date range and an hourly range. I didn't select one here because I didn't want to confuse, but if you were, it's the 9th, so we could select the 9th and have it run through the weekend. You could then change the hours to make sure if your event starts at 1, that your GeoFilter goes up exactly at 1 o'clock, so you're not paying for an hour, you're not using it. And then it'll go through the entire time which you purchased, because when you are creating an on-demand GeoFilter, depending on the square footage and the time in which you've chosen, that'll determine the cost. So let's go to the next page and I'll show you exactly what I mean. I've highlighted 400 Stewart Avenue, which is the Zappos campus. I've made the date range from the 9th to the 10th. So let's say that's one full day, that's 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. the next day. I geo-drew around the campus, which is about 346,000 square feet. And for one day, that equals $542.08. So the fun thing with this is if you really look at this, and if you're familiar with our campus, you'll see that I highlighted our bistro. I also highlighted our parking garage. Things that I wouldn't normally if I was doing this. I kind of wanted to show this as a purpose. So you can make and draw this fence, this geo fence, as small and precise as you'd like. You have the opportunity to really zoom in on Google Maps, because Snapchat utilizes Google Maps to draw your fence. You can, like the curves of your building, our building is mostly circular, so we can, and we have gone through and done a very, very specific area of the company where only if you're standing in the courtyard will you see this GeoFilter. So I did it in a much larger, just to kind of give the scale so you can see what it looks like. But if you have a small brick and mortar store elsewhere, like you can do it so it's just your shop, and maybe even like a little bit outside of it to draw people in. The other thing you can do with these is if you're doing a release, or if you're doing a teaser, or if you're saying, I have a sale going on, from now to now, you're also not limited to just geofencing your space. You could geofence all of downtown Las Vegas. Of course, as the size and the square footage goes up, the price will go up, but keep in mind that you could make sure the hours are only so, and that'll drive the price down. So little things to keep in mind with this, and one of my favorite pieces about the GeoFilters is for power and for daily users of Snapchat, it is something that you look for. Even if you're sitting at the same desk every day, I still take a photo, I swipe through to see what the new Las Vegas filter is, or I see what the new national filter is. Something I didn't include in here, but you are more than welcome to email me afterwards, and I can give you a little bit more information. I'm talking more just on the local level, how GeoFilters can be used. But if you're feeling really ambitious, you can buy a GeoFilter that covers the entire country, all 50 states, and you can go even further if you're feeling it. But that cost is obviously a lot more than $542. So something to keep in mind. I'll give you my email address and all my contact information if anyone wants to reach out. But just to kind of give you a peek into what GeoFilters look like, I made a fool of myself and took a few snaps of some that are constantly in Las Vegas. I actually, funny enough, had our visual development team design that Welcome to DTLV GeoFilter that we put up beginning of this year, and it's been one of my favorites, and we get to see the stats on that, which is kind of cool. You do get usage and views stats, which is very nice to see how many people have used your GeoFilter as well as how many people have viewed it. Now keep in mind those stats are going to be wildly different because of how impressions work. So let's say Danica and I both use that Welcome to DTLV GeoFilter. We add it to our story, and we each, just for the sake of easy numbers, have 100 followers. If all 100 of our followers view it, you have 2 uses and 200 views. So that's a fun thing where you can see how many people have seen the content once you've purchased. And if you want more insight on other analytics you can see, just let me know. But those are some of the Las Vegas, the one that I'm pointing up to, covers the entire city. And the one that looks like I'm Godzilla-ing it covers the strip. So little things like that. That DTLV one is kind of just for downtown Las Vegas. Use it. Snap it to me at Josh the Weaver. I'd love to see your pretty ridiculous faces. And last but not least, one of the reasons people utilize GeoFilters and one of the reasons that your consumers utilize GeoFilters is because they like the kind of weird addition to things. So the more weird and fun and interactive you can make that GeoFilter, the better. One of the funny actions about Snapchat is if someone takes a photo and they swipe through and they see an awesome GeoFilter that their photo doesn't match, most people will actually delete that photo, no matter how good it is, and retake it so they can try to mash up with the GeoFilter, much like I did with that Las Vegas one. It took me about 2 tries to make sure I wasn't grabbing it, but make it look like I was. So be fun, be weird, be kooky with it, and the more you do that, the more people will want to use it. So that is GeoFilters, and the next tip and trick that we're going to talk about, that I know you guys are going to love, is Snapcodes. So a Snapcode is what used to be called QR code back in the day, which was, 2 years ago, when they were still used everywhere. A Snapcode is an incredible marketing opportunity. After you create your Snapchat account, you'll see a ghost icon at the very top center of your screen when you're about to take a photo. If you click on that, it'll pop down and there is your Snapcode. Snapcodes are an easy way for users to follow your account, and they do so by actually taking a photo of the Snapcode, and little pop-up says, would you like to add this friend? You add the friends, and bam, there's a follower. One of the best things about the Snapcodes is that they are permanent. Once you create your account, your Snapcode will not change, which means that it's perfect for marketing material. Zappos actually is toying with and playing with adding the Snapcode to the outside of our custom white box. So when it arrives, people can snap and see what Zappos is up to. You can get deeper into utilizing Snapcodes where instead of it following you, it could pop up custom content, but that's a much longer discussion that we don't have time for today. But my favorite thing about Snapcodes is how recognizable they are, specifically and particularly for power users of Snapchat. When you see that little ghost, doesn't matter how you've edited it and what you put inside of it, people automatically know what it is, and that action of pulling out your phone to snap that Snapcode is just kind of second nature for power users. And like I said, the best thing is they will not change. So we've put this Snapcode on a ton of marketing material that we've given out. It's on all of our social networks, and it will forever be the @Zappos Snapcode. So keep that in mind. They're super powerful, and they're great ways to get new followers. So the last tip and trick that I want to talk to you guys today is pay attention to messages. Like I said, social marketing is always a two-way street, and that is no different on Snapchat, especially because of how intimate it is. So when you receive a message, and I kind of just took a screenshot from the Zappos account, instead of the message coming in as red, which means a photo, or purple, meaning a video, it'll come in as blue, which means it's a text message. You'll swipe it to the right, and then you'll have the ability to directly respond and message to a consumer, to someone who's viewing your content. From my personal, I love you, Zappos, you're so damn pretty. And then from this account, from logged into Zappos, you'll be able to respond. And that actually opens up a two-way street to talk to a consumer. Fun fact, when individuals have the opportunity, I don't remember the study, so I'm not going to pretend to quote the whole thing, but when individuals have the opportunity and get a response from, especially a heartfelt response from a business, it fires the same synapses and makes the same feels of when you receive a letter in the mail. It's that kind of intimate, personal, like, ooh, yeah, cool, and they responded. So don't deny that. Don't deny the response. Make sure in a timely manner you respond to people who are talking at you. I will say there are times where I accidentally forget to log into the Zappos account and I miss a message or two, and I just make sure to oh, we're so sorry we didn't see this sooner. Like, just be as open and personal and connect with the people who are connecting with you, because the best thing that they'll do is they'll show your Snapcode to a friend and they'll say, hey, they have awesome content. Hey, they responded to me super quick. Hey, this is pretty cool. You should check it out. So to wrap up, we're going to hit a couple quick reminders, and then we can ask any questions you guys would like. But please don't forget, and this is kind of overarching, that social media is a two-way street, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, etc. That's what makes it social. If it wasn't, it would just be ad space. Respond to the followers, especially on Snapchat, as if they're your friends. So feel free to talk more casual with them, because they understand that the person that they just saw on the Snapchat is the person that they're speaking to. So feel free to respond to them as friends, be buddy-buddy with them, because making that personal, intimate connection with somebody will kind of drive home your brain into their head, where the next time that they have to buy shoes, they won't even have to think. They just know where to get them. And keep in mind that specifically with Snapchat, followers and customers love you that much more because that opt-in is required. If they don't want your content, they won't follow you. It's really as simple as that. And letting them opt in, seeing how many people have viewed your content gives you, as the business owner, that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling inside, saying that, this 5,000 people or whatever wanted to see what I had to say today. They wanted to see what Zappos is up to. They wanted to see what my business is doing. So just keep that in mind and just embrace that warm, fuzzy feeling. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of you for listening to me talk for a couple minutes. Thank you to Danica for inviting me. And feel free to email me any questions you have, joweaver@Zappos, and feel free to follow me. I'm a little weird and personal, but we'll be friends.
Great. And if you do want to ask a question now, you're more than welcome to. You can type it into the chat box in the bottom left corner of your screen, or you can press *7 on your phone to unmute your line. What would your advice be? So if they start a Snapchat account and the business, like they do go through the whole how-to on Snapchat's website. What's your advice for building the audience?
Yeah, totally. So you have the awesome opportunity to utilize other social networks to find those evangelists within your consumer base. Because those who are following you on Snapchat are opting into your content, and they realize that too as Snapchat users, that like I'm adding this person to my feed that I get to click on and see their content regularly. Utilizing Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to show off your Snapcode, to say, hey, we're on Snapchat, we're live, follow us, is a great way to kind of take those audiences that you've built elsewhere and funnel them down into best customers. Because you have a general audience, and then your audience on Snapchat is going to be your intimate, awesome, they want to know everything about you audience. So utilize other social networks that you have, as well as that Snapcode. Put it on marketing material. Taco Bell puts it on the bottom of their receipts. Get fun, get weird with it. Blow it up huge, put it outside your buildings. People drive by, take a snap, bam, there you go.
Awesome. I want to make a personal note.
Yeah.
So the Chamber's Young Professionals Group, VYP, Vegas Young Professionals, we have a Snapchat that we started this year.
Oh, sweet.
And it has gone awesome. We've gotten a lot of great followers.
Oh, I love that.
Content that we put out every year. We used a GeoFilter for our White Hot event at Lavo, and it was really, really great, really well received. So definitely from a first-hand Snapchat user, VYP, went really well for us.
Good.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions, so I just want to thank you again, Josh, so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to ask him any questions, please feel free to send him an email. His email is up on the screen right now. And just a reminder, our next Chamber University is next Friday, and we're going to be discussing it's actually our last Chamber U of the semester. We're going on a little winter break after this. So it'll be on creating your strategic business plan for 2017. So again, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Zappos. And hope you all have a snappy day today. Okay, bye, everyone.